America first. A phrase that shook the world and redefined leadership. Donald Trump came into office with a clear mission: to rebuild the economy, secure the borders, and restore American strength on the global stage. Before the pandemic, we saw a roaring economy, record low unemployment, and rising wages. His America First policies revitalized industries, renegotiated unfair trade deals, and positioned the U.S. as an energy powerhouse. Trump wasn't a politician. He was a businessman who knew how to get things done. So, is he destroying America? No, he's making America stronger, richer, and safer. Divided. Let's talk facts. Under Trump, Black and Hispanic unemployment hit record lows. The stock market surged, benefiting millions of Americans with 401ks and investments. His tax cuts put more money into middle-class pockets, not just the wealthy. His aggressive stance on China protected American jobs, while his deregulation policies unleashed business growth. And let's not forget, he stood up against the Washington establishment that had failed Americans for decades. The chaos? That wasn't Trump. It was the political and media machine fighting against real change. America is a business, and Trump knew how to run it. He cut through red tape, created jobs, secured the border, and put America first in trade deals. The media painted him as a villain, but millions of Americans saw the results in their paychecks, their job opportunities, and their safety. Love him or hate him, Trump was a leader who put American interests first. The question isn't whether he was perfect. The question is, did America thrive under his policies? The answer is yes.
Unleashing business growth. Let's be real, Trump's economy was running on borrowed time and money. His tax cuts added trillions to the national debt, and the benefits disproportionately went to corporations and the wealthy. Sure, unemployment was low, but at what cost? Wages stagnated, and the working class got left behind. And China? His trade war hurt American farmers and manufacturers more than it hurt Beijing. As for standing up to the establishment, let's not forget that Trump packed his cabinet with Wall Street elites, the same people he claimed to fight against. Deregulation? That meant rolling back environmental protections and putting corporate profits over public health. And let's talk about the chaos. Not just the media, but his own administration saw record turnover, with officials quitting or being fired at an unprecedented rate. If a CEO ran a company like this, he'd be out in months, not 4 years. America is a business. No, America is a nation built on democracy, fairness, and global leadership. Trump ran it like a bad business, racking up debt, alienating partners, and prioritizing short-term profits over long-term stability. His handling of COVID-19 wasn't just bad, it was catastrophic. Millions of jobs were lost, and hundreds of thousands of lives were unnecessarily put at risk because of misinformation and denial. He didn't make America great, he made it weaker, angrier, and more divided. His policies may have looked good on stock charts, but ask everyday Americans, were they really better off? When democracy is shaken, the economy is built on a fragile foundation, and division is at an all-time high, that's not winning. That's barely surviving.
Running on borrowed money. Let's not ignore reality. Every administration deals with national debt. The difference? Trump's policies boosted GDP growth, raised stock markets, and cut unemployment to record lows. The tax cuts weren't just for the rich. Middle-class families saw their take-home pay increase and small businesses thrived under deregulation. And the trade war with China? It wasn't about hurting farmers. It was about finally holding China accountable for decades of unfair trade practices and intellectual property theft. Farmers took a hit, yes, but Trump secured relief funds and paved the way for a stronger, fairer economy in the long run. As for his cabinet, let's be clear, Trump wasn't playing career politics. He brought in experts from the business world because America needed results, not bureaucratic dead weight. Turnover? Sure. But that's because he demanded performance instead of letting career politicians get comfortable. In deregulation, let's not twist facts. Trump's policies cut unnecessary red tape that strangled businesses while keeping core protections in place. The result? More jobs, more investments, and an economy that put America first.
Boosted GDP growth. Let's break this down. Yes, the economy grew, but at a slower rate than under Obama's last 3 years. And those tax cuts? They didn't pay for themselves. They ballooned the deficit by nearly $2 trillion, with 83% of the benefits going to the top 1% over time. Meanwhile, the middle class barely saw real wage growth, and small businesses? Many still struggled under a healthcare system Trump tried to dismantle without a proper replacement. Holding China accountable? That's a great talking point, but his trade war cost American consumers and businesses billions, forcing taxpayers to foot the bill for relief packages. It wasn't a strategy, it was a reaction, and American farmers suffered. And about his cabinet, bringing in business leaders sounds great, but many were forced to resign over corruption scandals. Trump didn't demand performance, he demanded loyalty, often at the expense of competence. That's why his administration saw record indictments and investigations. Deregulation? Yes, businesses got tax cuts and fewer rules, but at what cost? Rolling back climate protections fueled pollution. Gutting financial regulations increased economic instability risks. So sure, there were fewer rules, but that's not always a good thing when they're there to protect people, not just profits. If Trump's leadership was truly about putting America first, why did his policies create long-term problems while prioritizing short-term wins? Real leadership isn't just about making numbers look good, it's about making America stronger for everyone, not just the wealthy and well-connected.
Slower than Obama's last 3 years. Let's not cherry-pick numbers. Obama's recovery was the slowest since World War II, while Trump delivered record low unemployment, wage growth, and a booming stock market, all before the pandemic hit. The deficit? Every modern president increased it. But Trump's tax cuts fueled investment and job creation, unlike the stagnant recovery under his predecessor. The trade war with China wasn't about quick fixes. It was a necessary battle to stop decades of American industries being hollowed out. Yes, there were short-term struggles, but Trump secured better trade terms, defended American manufacturing, and stopped China's economic blackmail. As for his administration, let's not pretend corruption is unique to Trump. The difference? He wasn't a politician playing the system for decades. He challenged the status quo, and the political elite fought back. And about deregulation. Cutting excessive regulations freed businesses from bureaucratic strangleholds, helping the economy thrive without sacrificing safety. The bottom line? Trump didn't just promise to put America first, he actually did it. The economy flourished, international rivals were forced to play fair, and America stood stronger on the world stage. The real question isn't whether Trump made mistakes, it's whether America was better off with him than without him. And the numbers speak for themselves.
Cherry-picking numbers? No, let's talk facts. The economy grew under Trump, yes, but that was continuing an upward trend started under Obama. Trump didn't build the foundation, he inherited it. And when a real crisis hit, his leadership failed. By 2020, record unemployment and recession wiped out those booming numbers. His tax cuts didn't fuel investment, they ballooned corporate profits while leaving the middle class behind. The trade war? It cost America more than it gained. Manufacturing jobs didn't flood back, companies moved to Vietnam and Mexico instead of China. Farmers were forced into bailouts, and consumers paid the price through higher tariffs. That's not winning, that's damage control. And corruption? Trump ran as an outsider, but his administration saw more indictments than any modern president. It's not just the political elite fighting back, it's his own officials turning on him because of incompetence and self-interest. Deregulation sounds great, until you realize it meant higher pollution, weaker financial safeguards, and corporate loopholes that hurt working Americans in the long run. The bottom line? America wasn't better off under Trump, it was more divided, unstable, and internationally isolated than before. Sure, he made headlines, but real leadership isn't about showmanship, it's about results that last. And history will remember that under Trump, America was left weaker, not stronger.
Inherited success. That's a convenient oversimplification. Trump didn't just ride the wave. He supercharged the economy with tax cuts, deregulation, and pro-business policies. Obama's last 3 years averaged 2.5% GDP growth, while Trump's first 3 years hit nearly 3%, a clear improvement. And when COVID-19 hit, It wasn't his policies that caused job losses, it was a global crisis. Yet, under Trump, the economy bounced back at record speed with historic job recovery in just months. The trade war wasn't about cheap victories, it was about ending decades of China exploiting America. Yes, some businesses relocated, but that diversified supply chains, making America less dependent on China. Farmers struggled short-term, but Trump's relief funds ensured they survived, and his renegotiated trade deals laid a foundation for fairer global trade. And let's talk about division. Trump didn't divide America. He exposed the divisions politicians ignored. He gave a voice to millions who felt forgotten by Washington. His America First policies strengthened the country, making it clear that American interests come first, not globalist agendas. The reality? Trump's presidency wasn't perfect, but it was bold, unapologetic, and effective. He rebuilt the economy, stood up to China, cut through bureaucracy, and forced the establishment to listen to everyday Americans. And that is what real leadership looks like.
Supercharge the economy. That's a nice slogan, but the truth is, Trump's economic growth never exceeded Obama's best years. The so-called record job recovery? That was just climbing out of the hole COVID-19 created, a hole made deeper by Trump's mismanagement of the pandemic. Every modern economy bounced back. America wasn't special in that regard. In the trade war, let's be real, Trump didn't end China's exploitation. He hurt American businesses and farmers in the process. Supply chains didn't diversify. They shifted to other low-cost countries. Not the US farmers didn't just struggle. They needed billions in government bailouts just to stay afloat. So much for free market capitalism. Trump absolutely divided America. He didn't expose divisions. He widened them with racial tensions, extremist rhetoric, and an attack on democratic institutions. January 6th was the result of his leadership, a sitting president inspiring an assault on democracy. That's not bold leadership, that's dangerous. The reality? Trump's presidency wasn't about America first, it was about Trump first. He built a cult of personality, ignored expert advice, and left America weaker on the world stage. Leadership isn't about sound bites, it's about unifying a nation, strengthening institutions, and planning for the long-term good. And history will remember Trump not as a builder, but as the man who left America in crisis.
Welcome, viewers. Now that you've heard the fiery exchanges between AIA and AIB, let's break it down objectively. Strengths of AIA, pro-Trump. Checkmark economic focus. AIA highlighted Trump's record low unemployment, stock market growth, and deregulation as key achievements. Checkmark trade and foreign policy. It argued that Trump's tough stance on China and renegotiated trade deals protected American jobs. Checkmark anti-establishment leadership. AIA emphasized Trump's outsider status, claiming he challenged political elites and bureaucracy to bring real change. Weaknesses of AIA, pro-Trump. Crossmark oversimplification of issues. While AIA credited Trump for economic success, it downplayed the long-term impact of rising national debt and trade war struggles. Crossmark lack of addressing social unrest. It ignored the rise in political extremism and racial tensions under Trump's presidency. Crossmark downplaying COVID-19 response. The argument that the economy bounced back overlooks mismanagement of the crisis and delayed federal response. Strengths of AIB, anti-Trump. Checkmark broader perspective. AIB covered not just the economy but also democracy, social divisions, and international reputation. Checkmark fact-driven criticism. It pointed to January 6th, pandemic failures, and tax policies benefiting the rich as evidence of weak leadership. Checkmark long-term impact. AIB highlighted how Trump's divisive rhetoric, debt increase, and foreign policy choices might harm the U.S. in the future. Weaknesses of AIB, anti-Trump. Crossmark neglecting economic growth. While AIB attacked Trump's policies, it failed to acknowledge the economic gains before COVID-19. Crossmark one-sided perspective. It focused heavily on negatives without considering any structural benefits of Trump's policies. Crossmark vague on alternatives. While criticizing Trump, AIB didn't suggest what should have been done differently on trade, tax cuts, or deregulation. Final verdict? You decide. Both AIA and AIB presented strong cases with valid arguments and weaknesses. AIA defended Trump's policies as economic boosters but downplayed social unrest and debt concerns. AIB criticized Trump's leadership and impact on democracy but didn't fully acknowledge economic gains. Now, it's your turn. Who do you think made the stronger argument? Did Trump build or weaken America? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep the debate going.